So like I was saying, like going on this spiritual journey, um, it is when I think about the um, the magnitude of it, it really is boggling my mind. I'm like, wow, really, Lord, that's where you were taking me. And so, trying to process all this of going into another space and hearing, from the ancestors. And when I say hearing from the ancestors, I think a lot of times people, again, in that spiritualness, that they don't understand the true depths of spirituality. So one of the things that, like, I was talking to my god sister yesterday, and we were talking about spirituality and ancestors and spirits, and I was sharing with her that if you're a person and you're a believer in God, that one of the most amazing things that my mind just can it is just it always has me in awe about God is that He's the same today, yesterday, now, and forever. Like what He's seeing happen right now, He's already seen all this before, and He knows what's going to happen. So we're just on that, those that particular timeline of where it is. And so again, so in that space of contemplating that God is He's evermore. Something that I think that that I had to wrap my mind around is that the prayers that my ancestors prayed, my grandmother, my mother, my great grandmother, all those things, God continues to ruminate and answer those prayers because they're forever living with Him because He heard those prayers at those times. So we are the embodiment of the prayers that our ancestors have already prayed. And I would also say that some of the covering that we are receiving for those who believe is because of those prayers. So those prayers are still being prayed over, you know what I'm saying, or answered. That's a good way of saying it. Those prayers are still being answered and still being heard and still being processed. They're ever living, those prayers, because God is still alive and God is still, He still goes through those same prayers. So with those prayers constantly being answered and He's constantly listening and going over those prayers, those are answers. When we talk about your ancestors are visiting you, they're visiting you through the prayers that they have already prayed, but they're visiting you through the embodiment of the God that we serve, because He was there then, He is there now, and He is going to be there in the future. And the prayers that we pray now, they will cover our children and their children's children, and they will forever be a living document, so to speak. Document may not be the right word, but they're forever a living will, forever a living testament. There we go. Forever living testament of I was here. People go and put a stake in the ground and say I was here. The prayers that we pray are forever a living testament that I was here. And so the prayers that my ancestors prayed are forever living testaments that they were here. And those prayers are being answered, now, and they will be answered years to come when I'm no longer here in the physical being. So I think a lot of times when we have these conversations and people talk about ancestors, they get caught up on the hoodoo, voodoo, and all that other stuff like that. And we have to be able to deconstruct our understanding of spirituality and not always dismiss it to be something in the negative. I believe colonization has done a number on African American Christianity and just Christianity in general, and how we perceive and operate when it comes to the things of the spiritual. And I believe that for me, I can't speak for others, but for me, God has been deconstructing my understanding of spirituality and drawing me closer in my understanding and my relationship with Him, and how I look at many different things when it comes to the spiritual. And now I'm in a space in my life where if I have not had a conversation with God about that thing, and I'm not set right in my soul about that thing, then I can't do that thing. And I really move from a spiritual understanding, because I realize how deeply rooted so many things are in the spirit. And again, this is not, I don't know. I always feel the need to put a disclaimer on things, because I get so concerned if I'm offending anyone, or if I am saying something that some other people may be displeased about. And that's something I'm working on, is being okay with being not okay. Meaning being okay if people don't accept what it is that I'm saying. Being okay with that there are going to be people who don't believe or don't see things the way that I do. And that's okay, that they don't have to see things the way I do. They don't have to agree with me. And for a long time, I've always had to be that girl where I had to be accepted. I always wanted to be accepted in how I look, accepted in how I move, accepted in the things that I said. I always wanted to be correct with pronunciation, enunciation, grammar, how you say certain things. I was just raised in a way that there was a decorum that had to be, that I had to portray. And I feel like I'm at a space in my life where I can't remember the girl, but she has a song called "Shake It Off." I'm in this space where I'm shaking all of that off, and shaking off the decorum, shaking off the expectation that I got to look a particular way, that I got to act a particular way, that I have to say things a particular way. And mind you, I'm always going to have standards. And so there's some things I'm just not going to go away from, right? But and that's because of my own personal value system. But in terms of the acceptance of society and the acceptance of people in general, I'm really straying away from that space and walking into my own, and asking God to help me be okay with what that looks like, and helping me be okay with walking this journey as I'm going on this spiritual understanding, so I can do the work that is needed to be done when it comes to my dissertation. And um and I, a lot of times it's been hard for me, because like I said, I don't sleep well a lot. And so a lot of the reasons why I don't sleep well is that um when I'm sleeping, there are times where I see visions in terms of the past, and um, I don't want to say I hear voices, but my sensoriness turns into how I can hear. My spirit hears, my soul hears. I hope that makes sense. It's not hearing from the ears, but I can hear. My body is hearing what is happening and what is going on. And sometimes I need to find a way to shut that off. Here we go. Here go another time. But I guess it's going to be a third one on this one too. So as I'm turning this corner of trying to process and going into a different stage and different place in my life, um, this is very interesting for me. And I don't know why I'm sharing this on a blog. I'll be right back.